I was driving to work this morning, I was listening to another radio station, as we broadcasters sometimes do. What I heard shocked and saddened me.
The Entertainment Roundtable.
They're here, nerds.
Wait, is this the group that goes around mutilating squirrels?
You just mind your P's and Q's, Buster, and remember who you're dealing with.
Well, at least we found them.
Fortuitous, Captain. And now that we have them all together,
you can't make an omelet without breaking some eggs.
The Entertainment Roundtable.
They make one person go, blah, 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 and the other person go, what are you talking about? And then one person goes, blah, 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 blah.
So we record on a Thursday, and we'll get into the explanation of exactly why here in just a moment. We end up recording on the same day that we do the company Thanksgiving dinner.
No.
And we're recording the show after we've had Thanksgiving dinner. I just want a nap.
I know I got the itis, Steve. What were we thinking?
God bless. Ryan, it's your fault. Ryan, how are you, my friend?
I am doing excellent, Steve and Jeff. It's good to hear your voices again. And happy Hunger Games, by the way.
Yes, indeed. Does start tonight as we record, and is going to be a busy weekend out there. We'll also give you an update on the Winter Movie League standings as they are right now. We didn't do that last week, so we'll give you an update there. Ryan, you got some catching up to do here as well. We got some reviews that we need to get from you. So we'll get into that, and there's some commentary over the past couple of weeks that you've been missing out on. So kind of give us a quick idea. I know that you said that you were directing a play. What else you been doing here the past couple of weeks that we've been missing you?
Well, aside from rehearsals from the play, I'm in the process of shooting the last few short films for my Film 1 class that I'm taking over at the university, and trying to catch up on the TiVo and trying to catch up on all these movies I've been missing out on. So it's been a very busy and yet hectic couple of weeks, and it's going to continue to go down that road for the next few weeks as well.
Through what, the holidays?
Yeah, I mean, as far as through Thanksgiving, yeah, because, we got to edit all the films, got to put them all together, and then our play performances are on the weekend of December 6th and the 7th, so it's going to be a very busy couple of weeks.
Okay. Real quick, Josh not here, David not here, Jacob is kind of swamped with work as well. I don't know what David's got going on. Josh obviously dealing with the movie Woodlawn, which the Irwin brothers are filming, should know that coming up on Monday, they're going to need a whole bunch of people out at Legion Field because this is the big game. This is that game that they were talking about, Woodlawn versus Banks. About 40,000 people actually attended this high school game. It is, to the best of everyone's knowledge, it is the most attended high school football game in Alabama history. So they are going to need a whole bunch of extras out there from about 4 to about 11 p.m. on Monday. So if you're available, they ask that you come. If you have, kind of nondescript 70s-ish kind of looking clothes, wear those and just be ready to come on out and have a good time. So a lot of stuff going on up in the air. So remember that. And also remember that our friends down at Amstar Theater are still going with their retro cinema. They're into the holiday season now. Last week, you missed out on the classic, White Christmas. They played that the 18th and 19th. But they're going to take this coming week off, because it is Thanksgiving. And then they're going to pick things back up December 2nd and 3rd. They're going to go with the original Home Alone back on the big screen for 2 nights, again, December 2nd and 3rd, and they're still accepting the donations, the cans for a cause. They're going to be doing that through December the 11th, and they do have that one big, really, really large thing that's dangling in front of you, like the big carrot in front of the horse. 300 cans in one shot, and you get all the movies you could possibly want to go see in the year 2015, and I'm here to tell you, that wouldn't be too bad of a deal for you when we look at the lineup.
Big year next year.
Indeed.
Sure.
All right, so here we go. Let's get into this, and stop me if you have not had the opportunity, Ryan, to review any of these movies that we're talking about here. We start off at number 10, Birdman. First time, I think, for Birdman in the top 10, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Ekes in there, 2.4 million, 11.6. It is a film that I'm actually interested in seeing. I just don't know whether I'm going to see it in the movie theater or not. Michael Keaton kind of doing the whole, kind of playing upon his time as when he played Batman, because he used to play a superhero, and now he's trying to regenerate his career, if I'm remembering the plot correctly.
Yes.
Nightcrawler in at number 9 in a, sorry to say for one person in particular, a slightly underperforming film, 24.8 total. Ouija still hanging on in the top 10 at number 8, made $48 million so far. Fury down to 7, 3.7, so $75.8 million there. Number 6, St. Vincent, the movie that will not go away with Bill Murray. Another $3.7 million there, so $33 million there. This, I believe, is going to be the first one of the ones that you have not had the chance to review, and it will be at number 5. Ryan, Gone Girl, made $4.5 million, 152.6. Jacob and I saw it with the kind of the disclaimer that you are going to be kind of hammered with language and there is some excessive violence in there. We really did like the movie. As I remember, we were right around 8.5. Where do you want to go with Gone Girl?
For this one, I'm actually right in your ballpark. I'm going to give Gone Girl an 8 out of 10, and here's why. A to Z, from front to back, you were hooked from the very beginning. The mystery of the disappearance of the character hooked you from the get-go. All the performances from all the actors were just incredible. Ben Affleck, Rosamund Pike especially, good heavens. If she doesn't get an Oscar nomination or even an Oscar win, I'm going to be shocked. That girl went from being a Bond girl in the year 2002 with Die Another Day to a psychotic freak show of a wife in the span of 12 years. So I am very impressed with where she's come, how far she's come. Supporting performances, Tyler Perry, dude, that guy, I mean, he was great as the lawyer. Everyone else in the supporting cast played their roles perfectly well. Yes, the language, it really didn't bother me all that much. The thing that kind of, made me squeamish a little bit was the violence, especially towards the end of the film. There's some some graphic violence there. I won't go into too much detail because that would constitute a spoiler. So Gone Girl, it's one of the best films of the year. Don't be surprised if it ends up in my top 10, but I will say this. I'm never dating a girl whose first name is Amy or was ever nicknamed Amazing Whatever, because that's just going to freak me out and tell me to run the other way. Just saying, for those of you who have read the book and have seen the movie, 8 out of 10, Gone Girl, go see it.
There you go. Up to number 4, debuting Beyond the Lights, 6.2 million. Kind of read this last week, and it just, a lot of people comparing this to the Whitney Houston, Kevin Costner film, The Bodyguard. 6.2 million, not exactly a strong debut. That brings us up to the top 3, and they just really dominated, and this will be another one of the films that you had not had the chance to review, Ryan. Interstellar, $28.3 million there, 96.9. Keep in mind, these are numbers that were official as of Monday night. This is also a film that Jacob and I went to go see. We liked, we didn't love. We were in the 7 to 7.5 area on this. Where are you going to land, Ryan?
For Interstellar, the actors did a great job. The concept looked great on paper. It just wasn't executed very well. First half of the film, I'm hooked. I'm in. It's great. Everyone does their job well. When they go up into space, the first 30 to 40 minutes or so of the film gets good, and the visuals are grand. They are spectacular. But the third act of the film, you lost me. Had no idea what was going on. The last 20 or so minutes, I really had no idea what was going on. It was very perplexing. I didn't like the way it ended. I didn't like the way it was structured towards the end. Even though the actors gave pretty good performances, this film could have been a lot better. So, Chris Nolan, as far as your films are concerned, this is not your best work. Inception is better than this. I'm going to give Interstellar, despite the fact that it had great visuals and the cast did the best they could with the script that they were given, 5 out of 10 for Interstellar. This is not one of the best films of the year for me.
You have an interesting look on your face in there, Jeff.
No, it's okay. We just disagree a little bit, but that's fine. Hey, different strokes for different folks. I can't help it. He's wrong.
And
I'm just kidding.
Well, we'll kind of give you a chance to overview it. The way that I looked at it, and when I look at the film, it's visually, it's stunning. It's an absolutely beautifully done film. And for the first 2 hours, it's a great film. For about the last 30 minutes or so is when, for me, it just kind of falls off the table and it just slows down to an absolute crawl. To me, I can't put this in any particular way that would give away a spoiler, I don't think. But there is a part in the film where Matthew McConaughey splits off. And to me, that would have been the perfect ending to the film. But they weren't listening to me. So, real quick, where do you disagree with Ryan's look at it, Jeff?
Up toward the end, I thought everything was sort of paid off. They had pretty much, if they had given you everything you needed to get exactly what was going on there at the end. And I read an interesting piece online this week. And the thing is, a film like this that generates so much interesting discussion about it as far as what it could be, bears, at least another look. And there was a piece about how it could be an answer to 2001, where
I could see that.
In 2001, it's a higher intelligence that sort of advances humanity. But in Interstellar, they say that it's man himself that does it.
Yeah, I could see that.
So it's I really dug it. I gave it, I think, what was it, an 8?
Yeah, I think you were the highest of all of us.
So and again, it's not it has its flaws. It's not a perfect film, but at the same time, just the fact that the visuals were great, and that it's generated so much, at least to me, interesting conversations about what all these different things could mean, or what Nolan was trying to do with the film.
Right.
Yeah, I really dug it.
Gotcha.
It'll be on my shelf.
I gotcha. Top 2 for the week: Big Hero 6, $34.6 million, so $110.3 million there. And amazingly, well, I guess I shouldn't really be surprised by this. Dumb and Dumber 2 debuts at number 1, $36.1 million. But this weekend, it's going to be absolutely blown out of the water. And it's not going to be by the movie The Theory of Everything, okay? That does come out this weekend, and it does look good. I'm interested in this because I kind of like biopics a little bit, so I'm kind of interested in the life of Stephen Hawking, and that's exactly what this is. Eddie Redmayne and Felicity Jones' dramatic telling of the life of Stephen Hawking. But, the monster of the week, Hunger Games, Mockingjay, Part 1. Jennifer Lawrence, Josh Hutcherson, Woody Harrelson, so many more. It's the first of 2 films based upon the final book of the trilogy, picks up after Katniss destroys the Quarter Quell Games and is hustled off to be the face of the revolution, all while trying to save Peeta from the Capitol. Ryan, as we record this on Thursday, you said you were going to try for the first time in your life to check out a midnight showing.
Yes. First time ever. I'm going tonight with 9 or 10 other friends of mine, and it is going to be genetically electrifying.
Why am I just surprised that you have never done a midnight showing until now?
Because I just wasn't into it, and plus, when you go to a midnight showing, the moment you get out of the theater when the film is concluded, you're dead tired, you don't want to talk to anybody, you just want to crawl into your car, drive home, and crawl into bed. But on this occasion, I'm going to make an exception because it is Hunger Games.
Yeah.
It is one of the best franchises we've seen in cinematic history, and plus, I'm going with 9 or 10 other people, so if I were going by myself, it's a totally different story, and I probably wouldn't have done it. But in this case, I got to say yes.
Jacob, who's absent today, hit me up and said, Hunger Games, Friday night, and I went, well, we can try that. Just looked it up, and 6:30 showing. Of course, what do? I send the invite around to those people who I know. Jeff, when I sent you the invite, what was your response?
I'm not going anywhere near a theater on Friday. Thanks.
I'm not so certain we're going to get in. Let's put it that way. All right, and by the way, there are some films out in limited release, if you care. Happy Valley, a documentary about Penn State about a year after the arrest of Jerry Sandusky and that whole sexual harassment drama over there. Film called The Sleepwalker, film called VHS Viral, and Extraterrestrial. No, not E.T., not the Steven Spielberg film. This is a film that's literally entitled Extraterrestrial. Coming out next week, films that will likely not knock Hunger Games out of the number 1 slot. Horrible Bosses 2 is out. Penguins of Madagascar is out, and so is The Imitation Game. I will say this, though. I am interested in checking out The Imitation Game. That should come as no surprise if you know that I have an affinity for World War II.
That's the one with Cumberbatch, right?
Benedict Cumberbatch, Keira Knightley. It's kind of the guys at Bletchley Park trying to break the Enigma code from the Germans. Very interested in checking that out. All right, so let's do this before we get into movie news and take our first break. The updated Winter Movie League standings. David has an early lead with 2 of his films already out. Remember, we only drafted 3 this time around. He claims more than $139.1 million so far. Big Hero 6 and The Best of Me making up his total. His third movie, by the way, comes out next week. It's The Penguins of Madagascar. So he is hoping that these 3 films are going to do well for him. I hate to tell him this, but he is already being anchored by The Best of Me. It's not doing well. Second place right now, Ryan. Making a nice little showing for yourself, mostly on the strength of Interstellar, which has racked up just under $102 million official as of Thursday morning. Foxcatcher not doing you much favors right now there, Ryan. It's only made a little over $250,000.
Well, that's because it's been in limited release for so long.
Yeah, so hopefully it'll start to gain some traction here, and you're also hoping to rebound because your third and final film in the league also comes out next week. You've got Horrible Bosses 2.
Yay! Can't wait to see it.
I am in third place. I got Dumb and Dumber 2 bringing me in $40.5 million so far. I have The Hobbit and Into the Woods still yet to come. Fourth place, Josh. $25.5 million with the underperforming Nightcrawler. Wouldn't cry for him, though. He's got Night at the Museum, Secret of the Tomb coming out next month, and he's got some little film coming out this weekend called Hunger Games, Mockingjay Part 1.
Right.
That's why I'm not friends with him anymore.
Yet to claim a movie release so far. Jacob and Jeff. Actually, Jacob's going to be up first when Exodus Gods and Kings hits movie theaters December the 12th. Jeff, you're going to have to wait one more week. Annie will hit theaters December the 19th. That's the first of the films that chronologically you drafted that will be released. So,
come on, Slick Willie. No, wait,
that's what, Jamie Foxx?
Jamie Foxx,
Jamie Foxx, yeah. I will say this. I've never been a fan of the idea of going to see Annie, and I really just have no desire to see this version.
I think you should see it 3 times, Steve.
You go for it. I will not. You see it 2 or 3 times for me, okay?
I think we all need to go see it at least 5 times.
I cannot bring myself to do that.
In 3D IMAX, if we can.
If that movie's in 3D IMAX, there's a serious problem in the world.
No, seriously, I agree with you.
Or buy a ticket to Annie, go see something else.
There you go. Buy a ticket to Annie and go see The Hobbit. Is that what you're telling me?
Go. Yes.
Take money away from me and give it to him. Yeah, I see where this is going.
Sounds good to me, Steve.
All right, we need to take a break. When we come back, we talked last week a little bit about the possibility of DreamWorks Animation being sold off to a toy maker. We got an update. That'll lead us off.
Hope you got your popcorn, because we're back to the Entertainment Roundtable on Superstation 101.
Coming back to the song Heat Wave by Martha and the Vandellas. If you go check out the movie The Theory of Everything,
that's what I thought.
You will hear it some point in time during the movie, at least once, maybe more.
But who knows?
I don't know. I haven't seen the film yet.
Do you have a theory?
Yes, I have a theory. Not necessarily of everything, but at least about that film. Welcome back in. Let's see here. David is got an unexplained absence. Jacob has work things that have kept him away from us. And Josh, obviously, is filming a movie with the Irwin brothers, so he is busy. You have got me, Steve West. You've got Jeff from The Guys Morning Show. And it's been a while since we've heard from him, but we also have Ryan on the phone. Glad to have everybody with us here as we are in the weekend before Thanksgiving. Hope everything is going well for you.
Kind of a throwback.
Yeah.
The original team together.
I know. Yeah, this was the way that we started it off. No doubt about it. First up, let's talk about this before we get into other specific news about movies. Last week, we talked about the possibility of a toy maker, specifically Hasbro, buying the DreamWorks animation department at a deal for about $2.3 billion. Turns out that seems to have fallen through. Reports state several factors involved in breaking off the talks, but notably, according to Hasbro chief Brian Goldner, the investors in the company's stock got so nervous about the merger that when it was announced, the company's stock dropped 4% just like that, regaining what was lost when it was announced the talks had broken off. So apparently they weren't all that serious about it. The investors got a little antsy and said, see ya. Well, now they're back. So there you go. And you know what? At least that means that we're not going to get a whole lot of animated versions of a really bad film like Battleship. And I'm not upset about that. I'm really not. Put it that way. All right, Ryan, I believe we're kicking off. No, we're going to kick off with you, Jeff. Let's do that. Got a King Arthur film coming up, this one being directed by Guy Ritchie, and it apparently has got Jude Law connected to it. So let's start there. How is he connected to the film?
Looks like he's in negotiations to play the villain for the film, which will be called Knights of the Round Table.
Oh, okay, so it's not King Arthur. This is literally Knights of the Round Table. That's the official title?
Yes.
Or working title?
It says that's the name of
the
it.
Official
according
title.
to the article.
Okay.
Looks like they're hoping that this film will kickstart a franchise for Warner Brothers. They want to tell the story over 6 films. Everybody's looking for their for their next. I mean, it seems like franchises are becoming.
It's becoming the big thing. Yeah.
No more trilogy.
Here's my question: can we fit in there some way around? I don't know, Monty Python's Holy Grail?
I doubt it.
Oh, come on, that would just be perfect.
We've got some other stars.
Yeah, I was about to say that he's not the only one connected.
Right, Charlie Hunnam has already joined the cast to play Arthur, and Astrid Burgess Frisbee will be playing Guinevere.
Right.
And for a while, Idris Elba was in negotiations to play a role, but he dropped out of the running. And now Djimon Hounsou is reportedly in talks for the role, which is described as a Merlin-like figure called Bedivere.
He could pull that off.
Yeah, sort of like a Obi-Wan to Arthur's Luke, I guess.
I can see that. I can see him pulling that
Although,
off.
why they don't just have a Merlin.
Do they? Yeah, really. Why, have they said when they want to try and get this thing out, or do we know?
Looks like they have a date of July 22nd, 2016.
Okay. Excited about it?
Not too early to tell. We'll see. I mean, I like Guy Ritchie.
Yeah.
And I'll hold out judgment till
I like the mythology about King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table and, all the stories that are about it. I'm just curious as to finding out now that we're going to do this over 6 films. It sounds like a major investment, and I'm not so certain that I'm as excited about it.
I know,
as
especially
was.
we've got Boorman's Excalibur already out there.
Well, that's true, too.
In my opinion, is the definitive King Arthur film.
I gotcha. Ryan, your boys in the car chase world of Fast and Furious know the future of their series. 7th film coming out next year, correct?
Yes, it is.
And they know what the future of the film set is. What is the future of Fast and Furious?
Well, according to Universal Pictures Chairman Donna Langley, she says that she believes that there will at least be 3 more Fast and Furious films in this historic franchise. But then again, she also said, let's wait, let's see what the box office, let's see what the fans and the actors want to do with the story. So let's see what happens. Because honestly, me personally, I'd be okay with them ending at 7. Because after the tragedy with Paul Walker, it'd be cool to end it at 7. But if they want to go another few rounds, hey, I'm not going to say no to fast cars, man.
And at this point in time, I don't think that the studio will say no to the money because it just continues to make it.
It is a monster, no question.
No doubt. Short this week, but we'll talk about a superhero section. And, Jeff, you'll lead off. Captain America Civil War specifically got a villain. We got an actor to play the villain. Who is it?
Yeah, Daniel Bruhl, who was in Rush. He played little Nicky, what's his name? The German?
Nicky Lauda?
Yes.
Yes.
Nicky Lauda. And he was also the sniper in Tarantino's Inglourious Bastards.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He is set to play one of the villains in Captain America Civil War. They haven't released a name for this villain.
We talked about Civil War a couple of weeks ago. Jacob said that he thinks that this is going to be somewhat loosely based upon the graphic novel of the same. So it'll be interesting as more details come out. Obviously, we got to get past Avengers Age of Ultron. I think we've got a third Thor film that's set to come out before this.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be a little while, but it'll be very interesting because details are going to be released, and we'll get an idea of how closely related to the graphic novel this is going to be.
I mean, I've seen all kinds of speculation. I also, in related news, saw that they're still saying that Crossbones, who was one of the Heavy's Hydra agents in S.H.I.E.L.D.,
right,
in Captain America the Winter Soldier, is going to be the main villain for Civil War.
Saw him at the end, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
And they think he may be playing Baron. Oh, I can't think of his name.
Baron
Zemo.
von Strucker?
No, Baron Zemo.
Baron Zemo, sorry.
Or maybe even Red Skull, who's back from his travels across the
That's
cosmos.
true, because the actor who played him in the original Captain America said he's not coming back.
Exactly.
Yeah, Hugo Weaving.
Hugo Weaving, thank you. Ryan, over to you. X-Men Apocalypse. They are beginning to kind of bring in some characters familiar to the set of first films and try to mesh them in with the first-class cast members. How are they going to work this?
Well, since X-Men Apocalypse, I believe, is going to be set in the 80s, they're going to need to recast the roles of Jean Grey and Scott Summers, which is a.k.a. Cyclops. Right now they have a short list of actors that they would want to play the 2 different roles, which would either be Chloe Grace Moretz from Kick-Ass, Elle Fanning from Maleficent, or Haley Steinfeld from True Grit for the role of Jean Grey. And on the other side of the fence with Scott Summers, they're looking at either Ben Hardy from EastEnders, Charlie Rowe from the film Never Let Me Go, and Timothy Chalamet, who played young Tim in the recent film Interstellar.
I don't know as I really have any favorites in the clubhouse on that, to be all honest with you.
Well, for Jean Grey, I think Haley Steinfeld would knock it out of the park.
She'd probably do a pretty good job, but then Chloe Grace Moretz isn't a slouch when it comes to her acting ability.
No, all 3 of them have impressive resumes, but if I'm going to pick a new Jean Grey, I go with Haley Steinfeld.
I tell you, it's interesting to think that out of these 6 names, I know all the female actors.
Yeah, I can't think of one of them. I can't put a face to one of the males. I have to admit. You even mentioned some of the roles that they've been in. I still can't put a face to the name. It's weird. Over to Batman, Jeff, specifically the Lego version of the Batman film, and they're starting to give out some details about it. Like what?
Looks like Chris Miller, one of the directors, says every era of Batman filmmaking will be acknowledged in the Lego.
Oh, come on! Can we not? Can we just forget the fact that the George Clooney one happened?
No, he's like he says there are so many interpretations of Batman, and there's so much to play with. There are 40 versions of his origin story alone.
Oh
but here's the capper. Don't be sad.
Here it comes.
Because Adam West was the last happy Batman, and Adam West seems so excited. So it seems like they're actually going to have Adam West voice a 1960s Lego Batman.
Nice. I like it.
Just bring it on, man.
Right?
I can't wait. This is coming out before Lego Movie 2, right?
Yes.
If I remember correctly, they want to get this out before they put out Lego Movie 2.
I believe that's the case, yeah.
I can't wait. That's going to be good stuff.
That's going to be hilarious.
Let's kind of transition here from superheroes. Ryan, we just saw Chris Pratt play a role based off a comic book series, obviously Guardians of the Galaxy. It's not stopping him from apparently going after another role that is based upon a comic book. What's he going after?
Apparently, he's reportedly attached to Universal's new film Cowboy Ninja Viking, which tells the story of an assassin whose multiple personality disorder gives him the attributes of, the three warrior archetypes, which is a cowboy, ninja, as well as a Viking. Shooting is set to begin soon, but I don't believe there is a director or rest of the cast assembled yet.
Okay, so this is really, really early in the idea of doing this then.
Yeah, and this idea sounds a little bit intriguing, but at the same time, it sounds really weird.
Well, yeah, but then again,
Chris Pratt.
Doesn't that fit Chris Pratt? I mean, he went from Community to play Star-Lord. I mean, come on.
Like
That's
a
perfect.
glove.
Yeah, it's perfect. Ryan, let's stick with you here. Got a show out there entitled Criminal Minds, but I would assume that an upcoming movie that's entitled Criminal Minds for Dummies actually has very little to do with the show. What's the connection here? Who's going to star, and what do we know about the plot?
Well, Criminal Minds for Dummies, we know that Mark Caston is going to direct this gangster comedy. He directed previous films, I believe, known as Puncture. He's going to produce with, Grammy Films, Greg, whose last name I cannot pronounce, and Warrior screenwriter Cliff Dorfman is going to pen the script with production planned to kick off in the spring of 2015, but no cast yet.
Why do I think somewhere down the line I thought I heard Gary Oldman's name being attached?
Well, he was linked with the role to a certain role in the film, but he dropped out, so it's not happening.
Update. See? Get it right here on the Entertainment Roundtable. Jeff Arnold.
Yes.
Talking about his future projects, and apparently he's thinking about going into the past for one of his next films, so I kind of hesitate to ask this question, but which one of his prior films might get a sequel?
I got to be honest. Well, we all know that Terminator Genesis is the next one he's coming in, so that's a blast from the past.
Yeah, we already got that.
The one that this story was talking about was possibility, and this is just a possibility. Someone, I think, has just brought it up. Maybe we could do this. What do you think? Running Man.
Where are you going to go with that?
I don't know if it would be a sequel, a reboot, with Arnold actually playing like the games master.
Like taking over the Richard Dawson role?
Something like that. Maybe. Okay. It's all just speculation. And as an added bonus, as I read this article, I found out they're actually considering doing a Twins sequel as well.
Are they really?
Called Triplets.
Yeah, with Eddie Murphy.
So Arnold is digging back to the past all over the place.
Oh, good grief.
Get down!
Oof. Wow.
Sub-Zero, now Plane Zero.
I want to put you on ice.
Wow. I remember the original Running Man. Campy, kind of fun, but very campy.
Whatever happened to Buzzsaw? He had to split.
Yeah, no kidding.
If they would just adapt King's story, which ended
so
much
differently,
more darkly.
Yes,
it would be really
short
good.
story. Was it actually a short story? Richard Bachman, his alter ego.
Yeah, it was a novella. And
yeah,
there weren't all these these bounty hunters or what that played the game. He was just on the loose in America, and anyone who saw him and bagged him got a huge reward.
Right.
So everyone was after him.
So in other words, like the original Death Race, but in this case, they decided to trump it up a little bit.
Exactly.
Ryan, speaking of next projects, Hugh Jackman has something new lined up, and it's got nothing to do with the X-Men. What's he working on?
He has been attached to star in the P.T. Barnum biopic called The Greatest Showman on Earth, which follows the American huckster through his invention of the three-ring circus itself. It's going to focus on his infatuation with singer Jenny Lind, known as the Swedish Nightingale. Anne Hathaway was being eyed for that role way back when, but it's unclear if she is signed on the dotted line.
Okay, so we got a P.T. Barnum biopic coming out, and they want to start filming this next year, or they want to get it out next year?
They believe they want to start filming next year at some point or another.
Okay, because I keep thinking to myself as I think about the films that are coming out next year, and I worry about all those guys who say, well, we want to get it out in 2015. Dude, you're going to get swamped.
Everyone is.
So, yeah, it'll be very interesting to see how that goes. And one more note here, and then we'll check on Blu-rays and DVDs and see what you may have the opportunity to get just in time for the holiday season. Greg Berlanti, and we're familiar with him because he's the showrunner. He's the guy behind shows like Arrow, The Flash, and others. And apparently Warner Brothers likes him a lot, and they want him to do at least one movie. What about, Jeff?
Yeah, it looks like Warner Brothers wants him and Sarah Schechter to produce a film based on John Tipple's upcoming book, American Pain, how a 27-year-old felon and 5 doctors unleashed the deadliest drug, which chronicles the recent rise and fall of a painkiller trafficking ring named after the American Pain Clinic in Florida. And interesting side note, Melissa Wallach, who wrote the Dallas Buyers Club, has been tapped to write the screenplay.
The genetics of it are not bad. I'm just wondering whether this is going to be enough of an interesting topic for people to want to go see the film.
Well, you have a 27-year-old felon and 5 doctors. And they're going to unleash the deadliest drug.
About the deadliest pain-killing drug on the planet, which, what, morphine? I mean, what is it? I guess we don't know. They haven't said.
Oxycontin? I have no idea.
Well, that could be true, too. Well, one would assume that it's got to be something that's severely addictive. But, again, it'll be interesting to see how this does it. The Dallas Buyers Club obviously has gotten a whole lot of critical praise. So if it's done well, obviously, we'll start hearing about it from critics. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I doubt it's going to be one of the mega blockbusters, but it could actually be a good film.
Well, and here's the thing. They're probably going to put this thing out October, November time or very, very late December in limited release just in time for Oscar to start talking about it and try and gain some buzz that way. I don't know if that's going to really gain a whole lot of traction. For next Tuesday, out on Blu-ray, if you are so inclined, you got a couple of choices there. Choose from The Expendables 3, saw it, The Giver, kind of underrated. Not as good as some of the other young adult films that I have seen, but not horrible either. November Man, no. And Tyler Perry's A Medea Christmas. I still have yet to see one of the Medea films.
Same here.
Ryan?
Negative, sir.
Okay.
Never seen him either.
Pretty much goes
kind of across the board, I think.
Yeah.
That's right.
TV side, not a whole lot, but I did find this interesting. Mystery Science Theater 3000, the Turkey Day collection, comes out next Tuesday. I remember Mystery Science Theater 3000 very, very fondly, of them just grabbing one guy and 2 robots and sitting in a theater watching campy films that were campy in the first place, and then they go in and they make fun of it.
I wonder if Riding with Death is one of the movies.
I wonder. I haven't found out the lineup.
That's the one where they had the skit where Crow was Turkey Volume Guessing Man.
One would have to think that that's got to be involved in that.
He could guess the cubic volume of turkeys any one space would hold.
The British TV series Inspector Lewis, and as they say it over there, not season, but series 7. And if you are a Major League Baseball fan, specifically of the 2014 World Series champion, the San Francisco Giants, you're in luck. They got a DVD that highlights your team coming out next Tuesday. And you can watch all that on your TV, which is exactly where we are going to go. TV news right after this.
They do all their own stunts. The Entertainment Roundtable on Superstation 101.
You're going to have a really hard time finding this on TV anymore. We'll tell you why here in just a couple of minutes as we come back to the theme to the old Cosby Show. You're shaking your head in there.
Yeah. Well,
you know I had to do this.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking forward to discussing it.
Yes, it'll be a rather long conversation, I imagine. Let's start off here on the networks, though, with Ryan and the Fox Network. Word about the Mindy Project. What's going on over at that sitcom? They like it? They hate it? What?
They actually like it. Instead of its original order of 15, they're going to extend it, give it 6 more episodes, so it's going to get a full 21-episode season for the Mindy Project.
And apparently that's not the only show that the network is extending and keeping around.
Yeah, there is. It's just, unfortunately, I don't have that information in front of me.
I have to admit, I don't have it either. I wonder which ones that
That's
is.
a shame.
Yeah. It's
not
like Gotham. Gotham had already been extended.
Oh, yeah, but here's the thing, though. That concerns me, though, because 22 episodes, they're like pushing a lot of references and a lot of Easter eggs in 22 episodes. I think it should have been limited to 13, if not 15 episodes.
All right, well, let's talk about this for just a second. Have we all seen the last episode of Gotham? You've
Yes.
been kind of storing them up on DVR, Jeff.
Yep.
I'm 2 behind.
You're 2 behind. Okay.
I've seen it, though.
All right, they introduced, and I'm going to try to do this in a way where I'm not going to give a whole lot away. They introduced Harvey Dent this past Monday.
Mm-hmm.
This version of Harvey Dent, I thought Harvey Dent and Bruce Wayne were about the same age. They've got Harvey Dent and Gordon being about the same age now.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're playing with that. And Chris Johns, who's a big fan of the show, posts a good amount, listens obviously to the show each week, and is a fan of the show on Facebook, facebook.com/The Entertainment Roundtable. He hit me up on Facebook and told me that he was worried that they may have showed their cards a little bit too early when it came to his storyline. What do you think, Ryan?
I think in some ways I understand where Chris is coming from. I kind of agree. But I did like the episode very well, and I thought the actor Nicholas D'Augusto, who is playing Harvey Dent on the series, is doing a great job. But it's just they're throwing so many Batman, like future Batman Rogues Gallery of Villains references into the show. It's taken away a lot of the cards in the deck, because if you show your stuff too early, your show's not going to be around very long. That's why Arrow and The Flash is doing it so well, because they know how to pace it just the right way. I think Gotham is going too fast.
Jeff, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm just watching it out of obligation now. It feels like, as you can tell, I'm 2 episodes behind, and I'm not really caring to catch up.
Is it losing you?
It is.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah. Sleepy Hollow is one of those ones where one episode, I've talked about this before, Sleepy Hollow's one episode I'm in, the next episode I'm like, you know what, I'm right on the edge of being out. I'm going to give it one more episode. And for some reason they end up coming up with an episode that actually keep me around for yet another week. But yeah, I'm getting to that point with Sleepy Hollow. Gotham I still like, but I agree with Ryan. They're starting to throw everything and the kitchen sink at this, and it's going to get overpopulated way too soon.
Yeah, absolutely. I would have been fine if this very first season, all they would have focused on was the mob war coming up and Penguin figuring out his place.
Yeah, Oswald Cobblepot.
But they're bringing in Selena,
they're throwing everybody
Harvey.
in there.
Golly, come on.
Yeah, it's getting to be a little too much, and they need to really back off the accelerator on that. But that said, Jeff, let's stick with Fox. Idris Elba got a BBC series called Luther. Seen some BBC shows. I'm getting ahead of myself. BBC shows come to the United States in other forms. This one, Fox Network wants to do something, don't they?
Yeah, this season Fox had an adaptation of a BBC program, Broadchurch,
right,
which was called Grace Point here.
Right.
Well, they're targeting Luther for its next remake.
Any chance we could get Idris Elba here?
As far as I know, he has not been confirmed for any sort of a starring role.
Mm.
And they basically... Neil Cross, the original creator of Luther, they brought him on to pen the script and executive produce. So it should have, at the very least, a good pedigree.
Right.
And like I said, at the time of the article that I got this information from, Elba was not slated to have an on-screen role.
Well, one of those reasons why might be the fact that it may be continuing overseas.
That's true.
I believe it is.
Yeah, BBC is talking about extending it out. I think it would make it for what for us would be, I believe, season 5, a 5th season. Am I right about that? It's somewhere around the 5th or 6th season or series for the BBC. So he may decide that he doesn't want to be that involved in the stateside one because he wants to just continue the one over on the BBC. Time will tell. And that's just development side, right? They haven't committed to it or anything?
Right, yeah. He's going to write a script, and if they like it, they'll put it into production.
There you go. NBC, Ryan, the further we talk about plans for new shows, the more we realize nobody in Hollywood has one single solitary original idea. Got another TV show that is, or an old movie, actually, that they're working up into a TV show series. What are they going back and looking for to make a TV series out of now?
They're going back to the year 2000 film known as Frequency with Jim Caviezel and the Dennis Quaid film. They are trying to do the same thing on NBC. They got Jeremy Carver is scripting the pilot, I believe, and they're saying that it's described as a character-driven drama which an NYPD detective connects with his own son 30 years into the future. The two must work together to change history of events to come while also getting the chance to hear their complicated relationship. But no cast and no premiere date is set as of yet.
If I may be so bold, let me state this. NBC has had this particular series or this particular kind of concept on before.
Oh, yeah, I know where you're going.
Quantum Leap.
Yep.
Journeyman.
Yep, love Journeyman, by the way.
Done it, been there. Yeah, well, you kept Quantum Leap around for, 4 or 5 seasons?
Yeah, I believe it was 5, if I'm not mistaken.
Journeyman ended after 1.
Not even 1. It ended after 13 episodes.
Exactly. So, I pardon me when I say this. while the idea of doing and I know exactly where they're going to go, it's going to be, let's go back and fix this thing that happened in history and make sure that we get it right, and then we'll have another one of those next week. Quantum Leap, anyone? So, yeah, I don't have a whole lot of faith in NBC in being able to pull this off. That's just me.
I know. They need new network executives like you and me.
Yeah. Well, and again, was it NBC that we were talking about last week, Jeff, where we said that the one person who came up with all these really, really bad ideas apparently went on vacation and allowed some people that actually knew some stuff to take over for a little while. Now, apparently, that person with the bad ideas is back.
Yeah, seems that way.
Good grief. Person needs to go on permanent vacation. Let's go ahead and note this one more thing here. The sexual assault allegations that surround Bill Cosby. NBC has decided they're going to pull the plug on the planned upcoming Cosby sitcom. TV Land has also pulled all of the reruns from the 1980s hit The Cosby Show while all of this is being worked out. And for those of you that are not in the know, several women, I want to hear one report had as many as 12 to 14, I think it was.
A lot.
Have come out over the past few days, including a model by the name of Janice Dickinson, who claims that the now 77-year-old Cosby sexually assaulted them in past years. Dickinson's claims go all the way back to about 1981-82. So we're talking things that happened 30-plus years ago. An assertion, obviously, Cosby's lawyers have steadfastly denied, but NBC has pulled the plug on any plans for a new show, and all of his old stuff is pretty much disappearing off of TV Land, cable, and by the way, Netflix has also pulled everything Cosby-related as well.
Really?
Yeah, they were going to do a documentary, I do believe, right, on him or something. They had something in the plans that they were like, okay, we're done.
Yeah, I think so. Plus, he had a stand-up routine that they were going to be putting on there. They've pulled that idea.
That may be what I was thinking of.
Yeah, so there are a lot of things going on with this man, and I don't know whether you saw this or not, or Ryan, you may have seen it, but you go around Facebook, you see some things. And somebody asked the question, Bill Cosby gets accused of sexual harassment, and he is labeled a pariah. Bill Clinton gets accused of sexual harassment and actually gets nailed by the government because of what he and Monica Lewinsky did, and he's going out and making hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars on the speaker's tour. Do you see a problem here?
Yeah, granted, I didn't really grow up in the era of The Cosby Show, and I've never seen a full-length episode of his particular show or his particular brand of comedy, if you would say, so I'm really, really late to this party. But I will say this. If it's true, I'm sorry that happened, but if it's not, I mean, really, the guy's he's really on the edge of death here, so you really want to bring this up now? I mean, why didn't you do something 15, 20 years ago?
Well, that's my question. Janice Dickinson's claiming that the things that happened to her happened in about, 1981, 82. Where were you in, say, 1984?
Quite a few of the women have said that they have tried to bring this to light before and been silenced.
See, so they're also claiming harassment on one hand, and they're claiming being strong-armed on the other side.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Well, Ryan's given his thoughts. Obviously, he hasn't, not really know a whole lot about Bill Cosby's past. You are a little bit older. You're a little more experienced. Your thoughts on this? It's
amazing to see how quickly everyone is withdrawing from him.
Yeah.
And with this many allegations and people coming forward, a lot of people say, well, there's smoke, there's fire. Well, when it's billowing like this, I don't know. I can't believe that this many people are lying.
Yeah. There's too much smoke for...
It would have to be one grand conspiracy
sure.
for all these allegations to be untrue, or at least have some nugget of truth. And I think the reason that people like to make those false equivalencies like that on Facebook, what you have to think about is Cosby's entire career was built on being this wholesome, family-friendly comedian that you could watch with your kids. And now this type of an allegation comes out. And if it's true, that goes against everything he built his entire career on. So it's a little different.
Yeah. Ryan, I'll give you two hints when it comes to Bill Cosby. If you really want to kind of get an idea of what Jeff is talking about, go back and look at like the first or second season of The Cosby Show. Do not pay any attention to any episode where Raven Simone showed up, because at that point in time, the series was junk.
Yes.
So, yeah, first couple of seasons, no Raven Simone, you're in. Or go back and watch his routine, Bill Cosby himself. About an hour and a half to hour and three-quarter long, just concert film of him sitting on a stage talking about the family and making it funny. And that's what I remember so well. I remember that one and I still watch it from time to time and just laugh my head off because it's true. It's just the family thing. That's all that it is. And it is legitimately funny. And again, you're right, Jeff. If these allegations do prove to have a basis in fact, it's a really, really sad thing when you go back and you watch or you listen to himself, because that was the whole idea behind him kind of being America's dad.
Exactly. That's why, I mean, he earned that nickname. Come on, he was called America's dad. And if he did these things, wow, Dad.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's a shame that this is coming out, and I feel for Bill Cosby, but I also feel for these women, because if this is legitimate, they've had an uphill battle, big time, especially Janice Dickinson. Janice Dickinson, correct me if I'm wrong, Price is Right model? Why does that come together for me? I cannot figure out why that comes together for me, but I'm not certain that I'm wrong.
That does sound familiar, though.
I'm going to have to look that up while, Jeff, we move along here, because we do have something of a time limit. The CW network over there, they have decided they're going to keep several shows around. Which series are they renewing over there?
Wow, 3 of its unscripted series, Steve.
Unscripted, yay, goody.
America's Next Top Model, Steve.
Oh, my gosh.
Penn and Teller, Fool Us.
I have watched a couple of episodes of that. You?
I watched part of one and was like, oh, this is boring. And Masters of Illusion. This will be the 22nd, what they are terming, cycle of America's Next Top Model. So
cycle.
Yeah. I don't know if I don't think it's been on for 22 years, but wow, I think they do it like.
I think they do like 13 episodes in a season, and they can do like 2 or 3 of those in a year.
Yeah, they. I think you're right.
Yeah, that may be true. Okay,
so this will be the second season for Penn and Teller's show, and Masters of Illusion will be back for a 13-episode season.
Okay.
Yeah, reality TV. It's poison.
All right, Ryan, to PBS. Yeah, I said it. Public PBS. We don't talk about them a whole lot, so saw this. Had to. Apparently like what they're getting from the likes of a Downton Abbey, so they're going to work up more dramas for Sunday nights. What are they working up?
Yes, sir. They're looking at doing about 20 new hours or so of anthology series masterpiece through the year of 2015, which includes Grantchester, Poldark, Indian Summers, and Damian Lewis headline series Wolf Hall. The new series will join current dramas Mr. Selfridge, Call of the Midwife, among others, for brand new seasons.
Okay. I can't find anything that actually does link Janice Dickinson with The Price is Right, so I'm going to have to do a little more research on that. Let's see here. Sticking with you, Ryan, something not going to be renewed on TV Land, a TV Land show. Which one's going away?
Well, after season 6, after that one is aired, they are done with Hot in Cleveland star with Betty White.
And if it hadn't been for Betty White, I probably would have liked the show, but Betty White comes in, and at 88 years old, she's got a mouth on her that just... No, I don't need the stuff coming out of her mouth that came out of an 88-year-old. I'm sorry, I just don't need it. I have had, ever since I was a kid and watched One Day at a Time, a major crush on Valerie Bertinelli and would have liked to have been able to watch the show, but Betty White turned me off. Can't do it. Let's see. Jeff, AMC, they've been approached about a comedy set in the time of the American Revolution. What is becoming of a show that was to be named, or could be named, I guess still could be named, We Hate Paul Revere?
Yeah, it's AMC's passing on it.
Oh, yeah, darn.
It was going to be a single-camera satire written and co-starring Ethan Sandler and Adrian Winter, and it revolved around 2 brothers who were struggling to fit in as the city braces for the revolution. And Ron Livingston was going to play Paul Revere.
But not anymore.
Right. Well, actually, he did. They filmed the pilot. AMC was just
they just didn't like it.
Yeah.
Are they going to try and shop this thing around, or is it dead? Do we know?
As far as I'm sure they may shop it around, but AMC, they don't want anything.
They don't want anything to do with it. Ryan, FX making some plans to work up a graphic novel into a series. What graphic novel?
They're going to be turning Alan Moore and Eddie Campbell's graphic novel From Hell into a series. David Arata is going to pen the adaptation. Don Murphy is serving as the EP. It was previously adapted into a film starring the one and only Johnny of the Depp with Robbie Coltrane. The Hughes brothers directed that film, but they're not going to be involved in this new take on the series. It tells the story of Jack the Ripper with the killer himself as the main character, detailing events leading up to the Whitechapel killings and the cover-up that followed in the graphic novel.
Okay. We're going to have to leave some stuff on the table, maybe get back to it next week, but I do have to talk about this because we have never, to the best of my knowledge, Jeff, ever mentioned the Game Show Network on this show before. So since there's news about the Game Show Network, we're going to talk about it. They're working up some new game shows.
Yeah, they're going to work with Emmy winner Jason Blum, Paranormal Activity, and The Normal Heart for a new horror-inducing game show, Elevator.
Oh, my
Where
gosh, really?
contestants take an ominous elevator to a dark, mysterious warehouse and are asked to complete a series of scary, suspenseful, and emotionally exhausting challenges.
Gosh.
And they're also going to be doing Steampunked with whatever. And,
You're impressed by that one, I could tell.
And one called, get this, App Wars, where a competition that has a parade of contestants who present their original app ideas to a panel of tech experts. Think Shark Tank
for
the
apps,
electronics
yeah.
world.
Exactly. Ryan, where can we find you on Facebook, sir?
You can find me at Ryan Matthews and on Twitter at RyanRPM5.
Happy Hunger Games, my friend. Enjoy the movie.
Thank you, sir.
We look
Appreciate
forward-
it. Thanks for having me on the show, and happy Hunger Games to you.
Absolutely. Look forward to your review next week. And, Jeff, you might see it sometime this week.
Yep.
Maybe.